Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by
Sphere Exclusives. Looking for exclusive content from your favorite podcasts here at the Sphere? Head over to sphere.tv/Patreon and sign up today. Body by Royce. Body by Royce gives precision instruction to help you reach your fitness goals. Book your consultation today at area code 832-332-2407 or send an email to thebodybyroyce@gmail.com.
Houston Housewives of Finance are your unique gifts and talents on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy. Contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463.
What's up? Hey guys, welcome back to another week at the Sphere Podcast Network. And thank you for joining us here at the Docs. It's your girl, Dr. Kwanzaa, MD. I'm a board certified emergency physician. I'm a DJ known as the DJ Doctor. And my goal is to help people to create more passionate and creative lifestyles and also provide better medical care through creative and alternative methods. And we're super excited. We have an amazing guest today. I think you'll love her just as much as I do. And we are here with Dr. Kadisha Rapp. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Dr. Kadisha. I'm your board certified emergency medicine physician, and my ER and concierge care help people feel better, be safer, and better prepared for emergent medical situations.
Look at that elevator pitch. You better do that, girl. You better do that.
Shout out to Dr. Dre.
Big shout out to Dr. Dre. He's our amazing coach. So I've known Dr. Rapp for a while, and she's been doing some amazing work for quite a long time. So if you can, just kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
I am born and raised in Washington, D.C. I was born in D.C. proper and up in the DMV. They always ask you specifically, don't say that you were born in D.C. and it was Maryland or Virginia. Were you born in D.C. proper? Yes.
Right. The same thing in Dallas. They like to call people out for that too, but it's all good. Okay, so you're from the D.C. area.
Yeah, D.C. Born at Washington Hospital Center. Shout out to Washington Hospital Center. Was raised by my mom's entire family, only child. Yeah, I'm spoiled.
I was about to say, you spoiled.
But there's a downside. There's all those eyes are on you.
Yeah.
And so
it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, so you're the only kid at the Thanksgiving table, Christmas table, and they're all asking you, how are your grades? Are you staying out of trouble? Are you, this, that, this, and the other? And I think that's why I turned out like I did. I'm just like,
but that's a blessing.
Super square.
Oh, no, you're not. This girl be out. Come on now. You love to travel. You love music.
I do.
Yeah, so tell them the deeper things about yourself that that make you tick.
Well, okay, so when I was growing up, I was into piano, poetry. I started writing music for piano, stuff like that. And, my family wanted me to, go straight through, Catholic school, 1 through 12. But between sophomore and junior year, I auditioned for the Duke Ellington School of the Performing Arts.
Oh, cool.
I would have been one of Dave Chappelle's classmates.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd have been dope. Sitting up here telling jokes. Oh, you love comedy, too.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And he loves the piano.
Okay.
So I was
that could have been a match made in heaven.
When I found out, I was just like, oh, my gosh. But my mom let me audition. It was a writing audition. I got in. But then, like, weeks before the year is supposed to start, she tells me that your grandmother says you will not have one. You will not have a grandmother if you leave Catholic school. And we don't want you to be a struggling musician, a struggling writer. So what else are you good at? What else are you interested in that could lead to something more stable?
Man, you know what? Let me stop you right there and just say, I think that's a big point to bring out to parents is, try not to stifle your kids' creative dreams. Ultimately, your kids know what they're passionate about, and then you find yourselves like us in our 40s, following the same passions and dreams that we had as little kids. Granted, yes, with some stability behind us, but backtracking. So, do you ever regret not following that path?
I do, especially the writing portion. And I wanted to write movie score. I wanted to be like Alicia Keys before there was an Alicia Keys. You
still write music now?
No,
you know how to do it now?
I just the process of college. I went to Johns Hopkins. That's one of the most rigorous undergraduate curriculum.
I didn't know you went to Johns Hopkins. Look at you.
But it killed my creativity. Yeah, and it killed my creativity.
Did it really?
In the process.
What about it? Why?
It was just intense. It was super, super intense, and I tell that to kids who are in high school. Like I do college fairs with Howard because I did my residency at Howard. And I tell the parents, I tell the kids, you have to go to the school that nurtures you. It doesn't, the name is great, but while you're there, that's 4 years. Those are your formative years as an adult. Right. And, and as far as your career, you need to be somewhere that is nurturing. And Hopkins was not nurturing.
Did you feel you got a lot of backlash? Do you feel like there was a lot of racial tension? Do you feel
there was some? Yes. I think it was maybe our first year or our second year there. There was something called the 200-point scandal, where another student our age wrote that the black students had to have 200 points added to their SAT scores in order to be admitted without bringing down the average SAT score of the school.
Wow.
And this was, the 20th century. And it got to the point, the other students were, badgering us about it to the point that the deans had to have a town hall meeting one evening to officially announce that the black students didn't have to have 200 points added to their SAT scores, that we were just as intelligent as anybody else and we deserved to be there like anybody else. And then other students, other black students in our community spent the whole time, their whole 4 years fighting for an African American studies program.
Wow.
And people were missing class to go to meetings and stuff like that. And I was just like, well, we shouldn't have to do that. So nowadays, I when I'm speaking to kids in high school, I'm like, don't get caught up in the names because, I did that. My high school guidance counselor said, going to a HBCU, it gives you some kind of crutch in the real world that doesn't exist.
I got the same feedback. And that's probably one of the best decisions I ever made, I think. Shout out to Xavier University of Louisiana, number one in placing students in medical school. Shout out. XU, baby. Amazing. One of the best decisions I ever made. So thank you to my parents for being open to that idea.
Yeah, it's awesome because so a few of my friends who went in with me, they wanted to be physicians too, and I was one of the few in our little group that is a physician today, thanks to our experience. Right. There. And even I, after graduation, took classes at Howard to help me with my MCAT scores.
Yeah. And that's not uncommon. Yeah.
And thank you. And it's just you come out thinking, I went to this school, like you said, it's expensive. I shouldn't have to take classes somewhere else.
Right, to boost your scores. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, and then people thought, well, you went to Hopkins, is Howard really going to get you better prepared for the MCAT? Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
It did.
That's what's up.
So I'm a part of the Houston chapter of the Howard Alumni Association, and I go to the college fairs and I talk to these kids about the predominant, the majority schools.
That's a big part of your platform also. You do a lot of speaking to kids, right?
But
I know that was important to you.
Yeah, that's something that I'm passionate about because I don't want kids to make the same mistake that I did, because that costs you time. So, I'm very passionate about that. I tell, don't have a hang up about going just to your state school and definitely no hang ups about going to a HBCU, because, they want you to get the information so you can go on to the next step, versus going to a place where they tell you the first day of class, only 20% of you will get A's.
Yeah, I mean, and I have to agree with you in terms of just the level of support that I had around me. I mean, especially growing up in a suburban environment as a kid, I never really had that nurturing support in school, and we moved around a lot. So I didn't really ever have that ever in my life until I went to Xavier. And actually, a lot of my very best friends are still those same friends that I have from Xavier. So I really can't say enough about what a positive experience it was. And I think their dedication to being a support, I mean, it was rigorous. I mean, all still the same, but they gave you a pathway, and that is the part that I appreciated. You do your work, you focus, you study hard. We can get you from A to B if you follow these steps, but there's no shortcuts. And there was no getting around that, but the relationships I built, the friendships I built, the camaraderie and the confidence that I got, I really can't say enough about. So, to each his own. I mean, I think it's dope, anybody going to a Ivy League school, but I do have a problem with people who have that stigma about HBCUs, because it's really not true. And especially if you do your research and you know where you're going and what you're going for, I think that you can find a school that's going to nurture you and benefit you. And I actually had a great experience in med school as well, at UTMB. We actually had an African-American dean of admissions, and she was amazing, and definitely supported us through that process. One of the most inclusive med schools in the state of Texas. And, I really don't know where I'd be if I didn't have all of that support. So, God guides us and, brings us along that path. And so I'm blessed and thankful. How was your med school experience?
University of Maryland sounds similar. It's very inclusive. It's one of the most diverse medical schools that isn't in an HBCU or a black medical school. They were very forward-thinking. They I think were among the first in that wave of schools that got laptops for all the students.
Oh, wow.
They created facilities called like computer labs where we could all plug in, and it's like plenty of space. Like these facilities were built just for a lot of people using laptops. We had like state of the art.
Very communal.
Yeah, it was communal, but state of the art at the same time. And it was really a really good experience. They took away the 8-hour days for us. We were in class for 4 hours and had the rest of the day to study.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's incredible.
Amazing.
And so as a part of, one of the things that we're talking about in the show today is, value as a physician. In addition, we're going to get into Dr. Rapp's book. She wrote an amazing book called Help Us Help You in the ER. And so we're going to talk about that and give you an opportunity to find out where you can go and buy her book. And it's super important. We need to support each other. We need to definitely support our endeavors. And, especially for those of us who are reaching back to fulfill other passions that we maybe didn't get a chance to experience going through medical school, going through college. This is our chance to kind of reach back and share some of the things that we know, and talk about, some really important things to help save you a little trouble in the long run. And I think one of the most important things about college and medical school is that I don't find that these are places that really nurtures your value as a physician and as a person. It's almost robotic in terms of pushing you through that system.
Yeah.
And, I was reading through an article from the Texas Medical Association, just talking about how much physicians generate for hospitals. And essentially every physician, I mean, even we can go through the different specialties. And ironically, they left out emergency medicine, which is really frustrating, I think, to both of us.
Yeah,
since
take
both,
me off.
Work in the emergency room. That we don't necessarily see the value of all the hard work that we're doing. And it's not a knock against medicine as a profession, because I think we can both say that we love our patients. We love patient care. The corporate aspect of medicine is a different story. It can be challenging. It's a lot of numbers crunching. And I think in this one study, they showed that a physician in general generates about $2.4 million per year in revenue on behalf of their affiliated hospital. That's a lot of money. And even though I think doctors are viewed as a whole as just making a lot of money, when you look at these numbers, $2.4 million per year, I promise you we're not seeing that.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. And then our salaries tend to stagnate like everybody else's. We're
Right.
feeling the same thing. It's like you're in a tub of like rising water. It's like, okay, well my salary is here, but my expenses are going up, just like for everybody else.
Right. And it's not a complaint. I mean, we all live well, and certainly not complaining
True.
about that, because,
True.
For every person in the field of medicine, there's always, and in life period, there's always somebody who's doing worse. And we're certainly not sitting here saying that, we're complaining about our lifestyles, but
yeah, I'm grateful.
yeah, super grateful, super blessed. But I also know the importance of value and valuing yourself. And I think that's one thing that they do not really teach you as a medical student or as a resident, is the business of medicine. But before we get into that a little bit more, we need to thank our sponsors. So this portion of the show is sponsored by the Sphere Exclusive team. So looking for exclusive content that you can't find anywhere else? Look no further than our Sphere exclusives, found only on Patreon. We've got behind-the-scenes shots happening daily at the Sphere Podcast Studios. Each show on the podcast network curates episodes that are only delivered to Patreon subscribers. Plus, we deliver the show live from start to finish in our Discord server that is exclusive to our Patreon family. So sign up today at www.thesphere.tv/Patreon to join our $2, $5, $8 Patreon tier and get access to all of the exclusive content we offer at the Sphere. And we've got a really cool Patreon exclusive coming up soon about some brainwaves and brainwave meditation music, and that's going to be really, really dope. But sorry, unless you're on Patreon, we can't give it to you. Can't give it to you, but it's going to be dope. But I think that was the main thing that I took away from this article. I mean, and then especially in the surgical fields, a neurosurgeon will generate about $3.4 million per year for a hospital. And are they really seeing the benefits of that? And I think that's why we've seen a large growth and push of physicians to independently develop their own sites of business, their own practices in which they're independently owned, not tied to hospital systems, in order to really, generate a value for themselves. And, I can't, it's not one way is worse than the other. It's just, I think, a matter of, how you feel you want to be in the system of medicine. And I think there's, pluses and minuses for both. I will say, I think entrepreneurship is probably one of the hardest endeavors ever, way harder than working for someone.
Definitely. You have to, how did they say you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable?
Correct. Right. So out of your comfort zone for sure. But yeah, comfortably uncomfortable. But I think these numbers say a lot, I'm going to give you all a big thumbs down for not including ER. We basically take care of all the admits to the hospital. We are the, what do they call it? We're the gateway, the gatekeepers. And so y'all need us, and, we need to be appreciated and given some love too. So I think for all professions, I think a lot of it is understanding your value, what value and dollar value you're bringing to your company. And I think it goes for anything and anybody, and understanding what those numbers are and deciding for yourself if you're comfortable with that and if you're being valued. And I think for a lot of people, period, in any profession, they can say, I think not. That's why entrepreneurship is amazing. It's just, I don't ever want to lie and say it's not an easy thing, because I think we can both attest that it's not.
It's not.
It's not. And so you're jumping into some things yourself.
Yes, I am. I am just trying to branch out and, just be more than just, a working doc, a doc in the box. Mm-hmm. I work in freestanding ERs in Houston, which I love because you get to spend more time with your patients. You get to spend more time, explaining your lab results and things like that. But my creative side is, it's creeping back out like we were talking about before. Mm-hmm. So I have written a book. It's like a combination of the creative side and the emergency medicine side.
Before we say goodbye to Facebook, do you mind to show her link so that people can get her book? Dr. Rapp wrote a book, and just tell us really briefly a little bit about the book before we get off Facebook Live.
Okay, so it's called Help Us, Help You in the Emergency Room. It's what an ER doctor would tell you if she only had the time. And the goal of this book is to help replace frustration, confusion, and misunderstandings of the workings of the emergency department with understanding, so that you can get the most out of your emergency room visit in the shortest time possible.
Right. And where can they pick up your book before we get off the live? But y'all are still going to tune in. I already know. I know you're going to download it, so don't even worry about it. But where can they get your book?
You can get it at www.helpushelpyoubook.com. That's everything spelled out. Helpushelpyoubook.com.
Yep, and it's super important. We need to support each other. Y'all go get her book. We're actually about to get into it a little bit more. I can't wait to hear what the book is about in more detail. She's written some amazing content, and it's going to be live, so y'all need to check it out. So, but you know what that means whenever I start talking about Facebook. So, Facebook Live, thank you all for tuning in, but you got to subscribe to the rest of the show to listen. So, subscribe to our show on all major platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else podcasts are found. Review our show across all platforms and help us to build better content for you. Share the entire show with your family and friends right from the Sphere Podcast Network Facebook page. And last but not least, support our mission to bring enriched and inspiring content each and every week. You can do a one-time donation at www.thesphere.tv/donate, or get exclusive content almost daily via our Patreon tiers. Sign up at www.thesphere.tv/Patreon. And on that note, we are out. Thank y'all for tuning into Facebook Live, but don't forget to go over, if you're on iTunes or you have an Apple phone, go over to the podcast button, click on that little purple button, and put in the search word docs, and you can have us every single week. And you're about to miss some great info if you don't continue to listen after this Facebook Live ends. So on that note, we're out. See you on the flip side. See you when you download. Peace. So anyway, let's get into your book a little bit more.
Okay, so it's very simple. It's not rocket science. This book is for everybody. So I just broke it up into parts, like say the first part being before you even need an emergency room visit. Just very simple things like, one, do you know where your nearest hospital is or your nearest emergency department is? Because here in Texas and in other states, your nearest emergency department might not be a hospital-based one, but a freestanding one, or like a hospital-affiliated but physically freestanding ER. And it's like, okay, yeah, so you see it on the feeder on your way home from work. That's great. But do you know how to get to the entrance? Do you know where the parking is for it? You don't want to try to figure that stuff out while you have a sick loved one in the car or you yourself are in some kind of distress. So why not, while you're on your way home from work, feeling fine, you just go in, you navigate, you ask security, where it is, figure out where the parking lot is and things like that. When you don't actually need to do it, that's the best time to do it.
Right.
So, and the second part is, okay, so now you do have a medical emergency, what do you do?
Well, do you recommend like making a list of like places that are close to you? And then do you also recommend like finding out what those places can actually provide? Because I think there's a lot of misconceptions.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, really, really good question. So I do go into that because some of the hospitals, even like the full-fledged hospitals, might not offer all the services that are out there as far as specialties in medicine. You might have a major hospital near you, but it doesn't admit children. So, and you don't want to bring your child, and they'll see your child. I mean, every ER should be able to see everybody, but based on where they're located or how they're organized, they might not be able to get your child or, another kind of patient population upstairs. Like you might have to be transferred half an hour down the road to the main medical center. So know that ahead of time so that you are not blindsided by the thought of your child being whisked away in an ambulance to yet another hospital.
Right.
So, just like you were saying, Dr. Kwanzaa, know what your hospital, what the nearby hospitals offer as far as specialties. If you have eye issues, a lot of hospitals don't have ophthalmologists.
Oh my gosh!
And it's like when something's happening to your eye, to your eyesight.
Yeah.
You need to know where your resources are. So it's things like that, like as far as knowing what your dental care, yes.
Yeah. We can't help you, man. The best I can do is a nerve block and some antibiotics, okay? Like, I'm sorry. I can't pull that tooth. I can't put that gold in. I can't put no crown on.
Yeah, no root canals here. No root canals here.
Yeah. I mean, those dental caries, baby, you done had those for some time now. I can't fix it. And, I think people get really upset by that. And I think one of the most important points that you just mentioned is about understanding the services provided. And I know a lot of people don't really understand that concept. And that's why on this show, we talk a lot about having accountability for your health, for your wellness, and for ensuring that you're the champion of your own health. Because really, if you're depending on anyone else to guide you through a process, as much as we are professionals and physicians, you're still your own best advocate and should have a great idea, except for the medical, terminology in which you're being treated for, and, and those aspects that aren't, within your framework or you haven't been educated on. That's our job. But I think knowing, the appropriate expectations is really, really vital to getting the best out of your care.
Exactly. And having realistic expectations. We, yes, we are, a jack of all trade as emergency physicians, but, we're the masters of resuscitation. We're not the masters of every other specialty. And again, not every specialty is offered at every hospital. So you have to know what's there and what's not, and like Dr. Kwanzaa said, be able to do what you need to do when not all of those things are available, or at least just expect to do something.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, I think we see that on a day-to-day basis. But one of the other things I'll say, as providers, it's our responsibility, and something that I think we don't do a great job of, not necessarily at the freestandings, because it's a part of the service model, right, to be in constant communication. But in larger hospital systems, that has to be trained. Physicians aren't naturally trained to be great communicators on the ins and outs of, how long it's going to take you to get to x-ray, how long you're going to be in the department. There's a lot of things that are not even within our control.
That's right.
And so that's actually something new that we're seeing across hospital systems is a new type of training and way to communicate with patients in a better way about what they can reasonably expect in terms of, their care at that facility. But really great point. I think excellent point. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. So, so that second part is, now you realize you have a medical emergency, things to do, like call your doctor. If you're pregnant, call your OB, and especially if you have like a complicated chronic condition, really call your doctor, because they might advise going to a specific place. If you're stable enough to choose, they might have a recommendation for a specific place, things like that. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. So then, like the next part is arrival, what to expect.
Before you give them all that, because we won't give them all the tea, right? Because they got to read the book. They got to read the book. We have to thank our sponsors again. So this portion of the show is sponsored by Body by Royce. So are you looking for an experienced professional to help you maintain or even jumpstart that healthy lifestyle you've been seeking? Well, then look no further. Set up your free consultation today with Royce Thomas, owner of Body by Royce. His precision instruction and motivation is just what you need to reach your fitness goals. He will assist you with focus on healthy, all-natural training, as well as dietary plans. Whether you need personal, group, corporate, or sports elite training, his expertise will definitely get you on the right track to a healthier lifestyle. Book your consultation today at area code 832-332-2407 or send us an email to thebodybyroyce@gmail.com. Shout him out, y'all. Body by Royce. He's over there getting people fine. So give him a call. Again, that area code is 832-3. The phone number again is 832-332-2407. Give him a call. Get that body right. Winter workouts make for summertime bodies. So it's about that time. It's about. I need to get in there too. Let me write that phone number down. Body by. Got you.
And what part of town is he?
Let's see if it said here. I don't think he mentioned that here, but I'm sure you give him a call online or email. Yeah, you can definitely find out. But Body by Royce, give him a shout.
Awesome. Yeah, now it's about that time.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead with what you were saying.
Oh, so so like the third part is you realize you're having a medical emergency. Here's some things to do. The fourth part is the results.
Oh, let's go back to that. So, what do you think is, like, if you had to bring out a key factor, like, what do you define as an emergency? Let's start there.
Oh, goodness. And it's funny because the way things are structured today, as far as, like you were saying, constant communication and being in the freestanding ERs versus urgent cares, the lines get blurred.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
A little bit. So,
but, it's not unfair to the public. I don't think there's a great job of educating people either at what the difference is. So, in your opinion, what's the difference between an urgent care and a freestanding emergency room?
Well, an urgent care can be staffed by or like headed up clinically by like a nurse practitioner, family practice physician. They don't have to be certified, board certified in emergency medicine. And they typically don't have CAT scans, and you can fill in.
Oh, that's true. You know what? Yes, they don't. Nor x-rays all the time.
Right, not all the time.
Nor nebulizers. A lot of weird little stuff.
See, now I didn't even
think
places, about that. Okay.
I don't know. I'm just talking about what I get as referrals from those sites, but not knocking them. We need you.
Definitely.
For sure. But also I think it's just the level of services being provided. So typically in a freestanding, right, you're going to be seen by, at least a board certified emergency physician or a physician who's been trained in emergency medicine or a family medicine or internal medicine doctor who has done several years of emergency medicine and well experienced. And the goal is to treat you just as if you were in a hospital ER.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think. Okay, but go ahead. Yes, sorry.
So, no problem. So we're supposed to be able to do, and we are able to do everything that a hospital-based emergency room can do. But when it comes to admission, and we can even observe you, we can keep you, and based on the facility, they are equipped to monitor you for up to 23 hours. Based on the condition. But with the freestanding emergency departments, if you need admission to a hospital, we will call local hospitals and find an accepting physician. And once we get acceptance, then we can have you transported by ambulance to that hospital. And that way you bypass the emergency waiting room of that hospital. You go straight to a bed upstairs, or and I'm seeing this happening more and more, the hospital-based ERs, and you can tell me too, since you work at St. Luke's, they have a section just for transfers from the freestanding emergency rooms.
Yeah, straight upstairs.
Okay, awesome. Now,
straight upstairs. That's what
St. Luke's is great. But I think some of these other hospitals, some of the larger ones, they have like holding areas or like special areas for transfers from the freestanding ERs.
I didn't know that.
And they keep them there, and then they have the hospitalists or specialists come down and see the patient in the ER.
Oh, I did not know that.
And then they'll take it from there. And sometimes based on your condition, especially if it's a surgical thing, the specialists or surgeons will come down and see you in the ER and take you straight to the OR from the ER.
That's cool.
So,
I mean, it's a different beast. I mean, if you had to say a pro or con, I mean, I think that with freestandings, you typically will get faster service.
Yeah.
But you have to be mindful. I do believe and check with your insurance carriers about their willingness to pay freestanding facilities, because some people can be surprised, but overall, it's not usually a problem, and a lot of those things can be worked out or negotiated, so that shouldn't be a fear. But I know that's an issue that comes up quite a bit.
It does, especially with Medicaid and Medicare. Some freestandings don't take those at all, and they don't take TRICARE, the military insurance, either.
You know, that's messed up, though.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, man, I forgot about that. Yeah, they're bougie, y'all. Sorry. Yeah, Medicaid, Medicare,
So, just be mindful and, and listen carefully when the front desk tells you what kind of insurances are accepted and are not accepted. And, and be mindful. I'm seeing that patients will come to a freestanding emergency room, and because of the appearance of it, it doesn't register with them that it's an emergency room, and they'll still think that it's an urgent care center because of the appearance. You know, the sign will say emergency room, the wording on the door,
everything.
The welcome mat, the stitching on the shirt says emergency center, and the front desk says welcome to such and such emergency room, and the patient still says, I thought this was an urgent care. I had a patient with an IV in her arm, and she had just gotten a CAT scan, and she goes, I thought this was an urgent care. And it's like, I'm not knocking people. It must be something about our nature and the way we process information, because I've seen it at multiple facilities over the last, 7-8 years that I've been working in freestanding environments. There's something.
You know why? Because a lot of the hospital freestandings, they do take Medicaid, Medicare, and so it is sort of a open market in terms of really accepting all payers, and so there's kind of a distinction there in terms of truly private freestandings. But I'll also say that I think you kind of get, like, if you're going to a private place, you're going to get private service, and so just keep that in mind and be mindful. And they're both great, excellent options, and I don't think one is better than the other, but I think freestandings, if it's independently owned, it is a good opportunity for physicians who are looking to provide a different level of service to their patients, and so it can be a really good thing and a really good experience for patients when everything goes smooth. I would say the kind of scary things, if you get in a real emergent situation, we have all the capabilities, but sometimes that one little, niche of needing a specialist, like on the fly, we have to get you out pretty fast, but we do it, and we do it well. So, it's not a knock, but again, you have to keep in mind, like Dr. Rapp said, what are you coming there for? And, if it is the closest place to you, I mean, do it. We'll get you taken care of.
Indeed.
No doubt.
Yes, indeed. So, all right. So you get there, with your condition and all, and here's some things to have prepared or have considered so that you can avoid inconvenience in this situation. So your insurance information. Do you know what your insurance status is? Yes, you've had those cards in your wallet for 2 or 3 years. Did they expire? Do you know what your copay is? And then back to the urgent care versus freestandings. The copay for an urgent care visit is often much less than it is for a freestanding ER visit. The copay for a freestanding ER visit is often similar to that of a hospital-based ER visit. So, but knowing your insurance status to avoid delays or concerns about how you're going to pay your bill when you get there, you can avoid those things by knowing what your insurance status is, updating your cards, things like that. And, whoever is covered in the policy, they need to have a card. So, if a child comes and they're with their babysitter or something, somebody should have a copy of the insurance card. Correct. So that child's not waiting based on the condition, while they get consent from the parents, yes, but also like the insurance information.
Right. Excellent point. I mean, again, it's about kind of pre-planning before the emergency. I don't think we can say that enough. But.
Right, to make the emergency less emergent.
Yeah, and also, I know one thing we've talked about on the show before is like just keeping a list of your history and your medicines, and your doctors, so that you don't have to even think about it. If you get in a bind, it's already folded up, ready to go, and you can just pass it off to the physician, since we're not quite in the era where it's scanned on your wrist, but I'm sure it's coming soon. But I think that's an important tip that we've talked about a lot on this show. But yeah, so what else?
Definitely. So, on that point, I've had patients give me the hairy eyeball when I ask them questions that they answered their last visit on and they'll say, "Isn't that in the system?"
Yeah, I know, right? I get that all the time.
And it's like, well,
sometimes yes, sometimes
no.
Right,
sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes things change. And would you rather us see you sooner, or do you want to wait and you watch us looking at the computer wondering what we're doing while we're looking in the system to see what your responses were? And we really should not just go completely based on your previous answers. We're supposed to ask you those questions again, just in case something did change, just in case you did forget something on the last visit that you recall on this current visit.
Right.
So that's unfortunately.
An excellent point. I know, and that is frustrating to patients. And I think, again, that goes with kind of a newer model or approach that many places are implementing, which is kind of a joint triage registration provider visit all at one time, so that you can eliminate, sort of triple asking or answering the same questions. Because I know that could be frustrating for a patient.
Yeah.
So great point.
Definitely. So should I go to the next phase, like the treatments?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the next phase of the ER visit tends to be your treatments. And there's one section that I mentioned, and I was wondering if I should even put it in the book.
Oh, you got to tell it now. Let's go.
It's called Do Not Touch.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Hold on. Before you do that, we have got to read our last sponsor ad, and we're grateful for our sponsors here at the Spirit Podcast Network. So this portion of the show is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. Did you know that only 4 states in the United States offer financial education? 33%, or more than 77 million of Americans, don't pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults say they don't have enough savings. Don't become one of these statistics. Let Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal finance strategy. Contact Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email us at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com. Again, that's info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com. housewivesoffinance.com. Ask us how you can participate in a complimentary financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance are the new faces of the new age of financial services. And man, I just actually got off a call with one of my advisors before I came here, and it's just so much to learn. Again, I think another point they do not teach you in med school is how to manage that money.
Definitely.
And it is like a downfall for a lot of people. But let's get back to ER treatment and your strategies for success.
So back to the do not touch, and it's very small. But if you say you have a laceration and you see the doctor wash their hands, you see them take a pair of gloves out of a special package, and they go through this whole ritual of putting the gloves on. Don't touch their hand.
Yeah.
If they take a special, it looks like a big paper towel, but we call it a drape. If it comes out of a special package or a special kit, and we make a ritual of laying it down, don't put your unwashed hands on it, because that wastes a lot of money. And because we're supposed to throw everything away and then break out a new kit. But also, if we have to, break sterility, which is basically just taking the gloves off and all that stuff, if we have to stop and do things like that someone else could come in,
right,
that we have to see, and that could be the difference between you getting your stitches put in 10 minutes versus 35 or 40 minutes after we have to go see another patient. I don't know about that sterile field.
It takes a long time to set up, especially if you have to do a line or, good Lord, if you have to do that all over again, that's a good 30 minutes right there. Yeah, and half of it is just getting prepared for the procedure versus doing the actual procedure. And we know it's painful when you have to get injections. We know it's painful, and we try our best to accommodate that. And I know at least these two doctors sitting here do, and try to make you as comfortable as possible. But, again, I totally understand what you're saying about reaching up and breaking what was sterile. And it's really just for your own health and protection, because we don't want anything introduced from the outside going inside, especially after we've cleaned a wound or prepared or prepped a site to do a procedure. I mean, that's super, super important. And also probably the job of the physician and the nurse to also educate the patient a little bit about what's about to happen and what to expect.
Good point. And at the simplest level, we should be telling patients, look, if you see, the drape starting to slip or something, don't you touch it. Just tell me it's about to slip or something, and we'll grab it.
We got you. We'll pick it up. We'll pick it up for sure. For sure.
And another thing is, if you're describing your symptoms, and you say, oh, yeah, I've got pain right here, don't touch the doctor and that part of them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm having this back pain that's right in the small of my back. Please don't touch the doctor in the small of their back. Oh
my God, I never thought about that, but I hate that. I do. I'm like, you don't have to show but they be all up on your, grabbing it. Mm-hmm. No, I've had that happen too, and it's jarring to say the least.
It is.
It's uncomfortable.
Well said.
Awesome. So what else are you not supposed to touch?
So yeah, don't touch the sterile drape. Don't touch the doctor. I think those were the main things.
Yeah, we can't tell you everything. I forgot. Yeah. Let me stop trying to get her to explain the whole book, because y'all need to go buy her book. And if you can, Elijah, can you put up there where they can go get the book again as we start to wrap up? So I think your book is amazing. I think it's going to be very helpful to patients, and also a great reminder to providers as far as education, in terms of just, again, being a great reminder as to how to share with patients better ways to be informed about their own care and
Definitely.
Help them to be better advocates, and for patients to just learn in a different way and advocate for themselves. So that's really, really cool. But let everybody know where you can get your book again.
Yes, ma'am. It is at www.helpushelpyoubook.com, and that's everything spelled out, www.helpushelpyoubook.com. kadisharapp.com.
And that's where they can get the physical copy, right?
That's where they can get the physical copy.
Awesome.
And the book is also, the e-version is available on Amazon. I think it is still $2.99. It was.
Oh, you on special? You running a special?
It's still. I think it's as of this morning. It was still $2.99. My book was an Amazon bestseller.
Hey.
#1 bestseller for emergency medical services. #1 for allied health professions.
Awesome.
#2 for just emergency medicine in general. And 3 for like doctor-patient relations.
You better get it, girl. That's awesome. High five. Strong work. And that's no easy feat to write a book. It's challenging.
I sat on that mess since for 7 years. I sat on it for 7 years.
Okay, well, there's going to be a volume 2, no doubt. I mean, there's always information to share. So y'all go get a copy of her book. You know, there's nothing like having a hard copy in your hand. So go to the website and get a hard copy of the book. And, maybe for special guests, if you mention the Sphere, she might sign it for you. So if you mention the Sphere,
Autographed.
maybe she might sign it for you.
Definitely. Shout out to the Sphere.
Yeah. And, we appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Anything big you got going on coming up in the near future that you want to let people know about?
Oh, yes. I do have a 5-day challenge coming up starting on Monday. It's called the ER Challenge, but it stands for Emergency Ready and not Emergency Room. Again, it's just common sense things. So each day I'm going to have a little assignment for you that you can complete, and then we'll discuss it during a live stream, with discussion, just to see how difficult or how easy people found it to complete.
Okay. And
these 5 steps are meant to help get yourself and your loved ones ready for, a health or urgent or emergent medical situation, so that it's not so emergent, not so urgent, just due to the lack of preparation.
And what's the name of the challenge again?
It's called the ER Challenge. It's www.theerchallenge.com.
And where can they find you on Facebook? You have a Facebook group that people can join?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's it's Dr. Kadisha MD, so it's DrKadishamD.com. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Awesome. Well, y'all go check out Dr. Rapp. Make sure you sign up for that challenge. Get ER prepared, baby, because it's no games to be played by the time you make it to see us. And we know that when you make it to the ER, it's probably not a great day that you're having, or probably one of the most serious or scariest or even tragic days of your life. And we know that, and we're sensitive to that, and we just want you to be ready. So we appreciate you being here, man. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. This was really great.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Come back anytime. So thank you guys again for joining us on the Docs podcast. Again, you can catch us every single week with fresh, exciting content. This is your girl, Dr. Kwanzaa. You can hit me up on Instagram at Dr_CWANZAMD or Facebook at Dr. Kwanzaa MD. And I got some exciting stuff coming up, but I'm gonna tell y'all about it later. And we're just so happy that Dr. Rapp came to join us today, and we will catch you next week. Dr. Davis will be here, and I'm sure she got something really special planned for you. So peace out. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.